Welcome back, guys, and in today's video I'm going to be creating a drawing using only pink art supplies because pink is obviously the best color out there. I mean, who doesn't love pink? My dog loves pink and she's the best dog ever, so obviously it's the best color ever. And I obviously love pink. Everything in my room is pink, so I was very excited to do this today. First off, I would like to pay respects to that poor flamingo that I totally butchered its whole life. Of course, the minute I turned off my light box as I was taking a break, I saw an empty space in my drawing and I'm like, why is that there? Well, it was there because the flamingo's head was there. But of course, it was too late and I drew the leaf over it. And I almost did it on the right side too, until I realized that there were all these spaces there because I hadn't inked the flamingos yet. So then I had to go back and make the flamingo smaller, and I know I should have sketched it first. Like, if I don't sketch something first, I will mess it up, and I think it's just because I'll start thinking about the drawing too hard, and I get all nervous, and I'll mess up. It's just so stupid, because honestly, some of my cutest drawings that I have are those little scribbles that you'll have in like the side of your school notebooks, because I'm not thinking hard about the drawing, yet it turns out better. So yes, the one flamingo there, he looks really, really derpy, but you know, it's okay. I'm sorry. I tried. Other than the poor flamingo that I inked horribly, which honestly is not a surprise. There always seems to be one inking mistake in every piece I make. Other than that, I was very happy with how the inking turned out. This was the first time I did a whole piece with my pink multiliner because I usually use it in conjunction with my black multiliners. And I was a little worried at first because the pink, it's like a mid-tone pink, so I figured it was gonna get just blended out kind of with the darker colors, because since this piece I only use pink, I knew I was gonna use a lot of shade variants because that was really the only way to create contrast in the pink, because you can't use other colors with it. So I figured that when I do something dark, then that line was gonna be gone, and then you'd have some stuff that looked like it was lined and other stuff that looked like it wasn't lined, and I didn't think that was gonna look very good. And that actually did end up happening a little bit in the end, but luckily I was able to just use black lines over the pink later on to help create more contrast, which I kind of figured was gonna happen. The pink I can't draw over black lines, but I can draw black over pink. So I decided to just ink the whole thing in pink, and if I didn't like it, I would go back and I would change it a little bit, which I did. Another thing I tried in this piece is I used both color pencils and markers. Usually I like to stick to one medium, but I felt that because obviously I, again, was only using pink, I needed another way to create contrast, that if I used a different medium with the markers that it might look better. And I mean, honestly, I don't know how well that worked out because I guess the color pencils, they were a little bit obviously of a different shade than what my markers would have been, but they didn't really give that much of an effect to it, because what I ended up doing is I ended up using one of my Copic markers to create an outline on all the color pencil stuff, because when it was just color pencil, it wasn't sticking out enough. And no matter how hard I try with Prismacolors, they're just always so soft that I can never get it to a sharp enough point where it'll create good outlines that I like, especially when there's other, pencil by it. So I ended up using marker over it, but I mean, I guess it still had to create a slight different amount of look than if I had just used markers. Another thing you may have noticed is that my horrible taped up tripod disappeared out of sight. And that is because I was getting so fed up with this thing. I don't know what I was thinking. I bought a tripod and I'm like, okay, if I face, the holder downwards, it'll be fine. But obviously, I don't think there's going to be any standing up tripod where the legs don't show up in frame if you're facing it downwards. So that would always really annoy me. And then 2, the tripod, the stick for the tripod, when you put the stick so that the camera's facing downwards, the stick hits right into the leg. So if you want to face the camera downwards, you can never really do that unless you can't do that. The tripod will never go down low enough, which is a problem because the lowest size is kind of what I need to put a good focus on my artwork. So I just gave up. I couldn't deal with it anymore and it looked really stupid. So I just moved my camera on top of a whole stack of boxes, which doesn't actually look too bad in the picture because my boxes are pink, so they match the background. But that also still bothered me because I just go to my desk and there's a huge stack of boxes on it. And when my desk is dirty, I don't want to go near it, which is why you'll notice all the breaks in this freaking piece, because I would go 20 minutes and then leave and then just come back. So I definitely want to find something else. A lot of people I saw, they were using these clamps that stick on your desk, and then it's got this weird wire movable arm so that it'll face down to look at your piece. So I think that's what I'm going to end up getting for this. Another thing that I was thinking about when I was thinking about the color choices for this piece was if I was going to actually put any black and grays in there. First off, it's supposed to be an all pink, challenge or whatever, but black and white really aren't colors, so I would always use black and white if I ever did any of these color challenges. And then I guess the second thing is, normally you don't want to shade something with grays and black because, that'll make it darker, there's a shadow, but it's also going to desaturate the piece. So if you want desaturation, it'll work, but otherwise, if you don't want desaturation, it's not going to work. But I figured since here the only colors were pink, that it would be fine because it is going to make it look darker. And also in my piece, the sun setting, I realized that when I colored in the bushes and the leaves and stuff and I gave them a black overlay over them, it did look like, the plants were kind of in shadow because the sun's going down, so you're having the shadow cast over a lot of stuff because the sun's behind them. So I actually really like how it turned out. And I really needed to use the black because I realized when I was doing the bushes behind her that obviously I wanted the plants to be darker, but her skirt is pretty dark to begin with. So her skirt was just blending in with the background, which didn't look good at all. So that's when I decided to put the black and grays in there. And I thought that looked really nice. And especially I really like the black in the leaves and stuff. And I also decided, that was also the point I decided to use the black outline because the flamingos, they were lighter so they would stand out, but because I had to color them after the bush since the bush was darker and I didn't want to, color something light and then get dark over it, just the line meeting up to the flamingo and the bush, that wasn't crisp enough. So I wanted to make sure it had a stark line around it, which is why I needed to use the black because the pink was not stark enough at all. I also realized that I actually did use purple, which, it is not easy to use all of one color, and especially for the sunset. I was looking at sunset pictures, and if you ever have a pink ocean, the dark parts are always going to be purple. So I did use purple markers, but I colored over it in pink. So technically, that color is still some sort of shade like pink. It's like the reds. If pink is technically a light version of red, this isn't red, just a dark version of pink, so I can still use it. But anyways, I did take a couple artistic liberties that may have fallen out of the bounds of this challenge, but I really needed it because I wanted the piece to look good. I didn't want all the colors to just be blending into each other and you can't tell what's in the background, what's in the foreground. But anyways, overall, I'm very happy with how it turned out.